Tech. I'm Zach, and this is another episode of Tech Tips. In this episode of Tech Tips, I'm going to be continuing my benchmarking series for LiquidSky's cloud gaming platform. Today I'll be looking at it a little bit different though, and running PC Mark 8 for a more general benchmarking and kind of getting started in some alternative uses for LiquidSky's platform outside of the marketed gaming. So without further delay, let's get started. Alright, so we have our final results in. It took roughly an hour. The exact time was 61 minutes and 9 seconds, as you can see in the total duration part. We ended up with a score of 3,116. I do wish down in the comparison below that they had broke the comparison out on a test-by-test basis. That way you could have a very good judgment of maybe some strengths and weaknesses of LiquidSky's service, and just kind of compare it to your local machine to see where one might have advantage over the other. Right now, your really only comparison is the time it takes to do these tests, and in certain cases, there's some FPSs for like some mainstream gaming and some video chat tests that it did that you could compare the FPS counter as opposed to how long it took or your time delay in those tests. It would be nice to see kind of the placing on all their tests on a test-by-test basis to see maybe it does really good with video editing, but it's not too great with the mainstream gaming. That's kind of what it's aimed for, but it would be nice to kind of see maybe how it ranks in different tasks compared to the general market as a whole. So you can kind of pause the video and look at these stats closer if you're interested once you're testing your own. I do recommend you can download the basic edition of PC Mark 8 for free, which is what I did to do this video, and run your own tests to do some comparison. So you can see that our score is pretty low on the overall rankings. However, I would like to point out that the notebook that they're calling out is an i7 with a NVIDIA 840M. So it is definitely not a bottom of the barrel notebook. It is something that is definitely what I would think of as a workstation laptop. So a couple things I wanted to point out in the stats that it got. It did detect 2 gigabytes of RAM. If I remember correctly, when I did the 3D Mark test, I only think it detected 1 gigabyte even when in ultra mode. So I don't know if there's possibly a bug at the time with LiquidSky's service, or maybe it really did detect 2 gigabytes and I'm just not remembering correctly. You can see that it does have 7 logical processors. In the ultra mode, it has 7. In the high performance mode, it has 3, with the total number of cores being 6. So your logical, they give you a little bit of a bonus on the ultra mode in your total number of cores, and you can see that it has 16 gigabytes of RAM. So that's just a nice generic test of overall performance. I do recommend kind of doing it on your local machine, and you can kind of gauge how the performance of this machine will be compared to your local machine. What I want to do in the last video, kind of in this series, at least for now, is do some head-to-heads, do some quick renders with Inventor Studio, which is something I use this for all the time at work, as well as some renders of some videos, as well as some real-time video editing and real-time designing in Inventor. Just give you some general reference to kind of how it performs in a non-gaming setup. And that's primarily what I've been using this for. I have been doing a little bit of gaming, but that glitch effect that you see occasionally in these videos seems to primarily affect come into play when you're doing the real-time gaming. So I'm guessing it has something to do after more extensive testing, not necessarily with the network bandwidth, but how they compress the video. And I think it might have something to do with the video card itself being pushed harder in games, that it might not be able to run the compression algorithm as efficiently and has problems every once in a while, which is where you get those artifacts and the pixelation. I did test on a faster network and I still got some of these same errors, maybe not as frequently. I don't know if that's just what I was doing at the time or not, but it does seem that these do persist beyond just a low network connectivity state. The latency, though, however, is great, and for general use, I do think this is a great platform. It's going to be interesting to see where the future of this leads. And my next video will kind of be on some of the design and engineering possible uses for LiquidSky's platform, and kind of where I hope to see it go in the future. It is still in betas, so I'm hoping that maybe in a year or two after some development, maybe with some improvements on their hardware package, primarily a little bit more video RAM, possibly a little bit better of a video card, to kind of improve the system as a whole, and maybe get rid of that artifacting that we're seeing and get a better overall experience in the gaming market. Like I said, I do think it is a great idea, but I still don't think we're quite there yet in gaming. But we're definitely getting to the point where cloud computing is excellent for a lot of different uses. And in engineering and design, I have very good experience with that. So this last video coming up, hopefully next week, we'll kind of cover some real world experience with Adobe and Autodesk products and give you some feedback on those products in general. So thanks for watching, guys. I hope this video was informative. Go run some benchmarks on your local machine, and maybe even comment in the description below kind of what your system specs are and what scores you got, so we can kind of place this pretty firmly in kind of the user base of followers on my channel. So thanks for watching, guys, and until next time, Zach out.